This is the Bear Country Outdoors Barely a Podcast. I'm your host, Doug Boze, and with me is James Forsland and Chris Cantrell. Thanks for joining.
So we're back. Here we are. We got another special guest tonight, and it's the one and the only Mr. Doug Boze.
Yep.
Howdy, guys.
Thanks for
Thank
coming.
You. Yeah, thanks for having me. I
Barely
appreciate
famous.
it. I like that. I'm going to have to patent that.
That was good,
Copyright.
Jim. I was laughing.
I thought
Cracking
about
me
it.
up.
I was like kind of freaking out a little bit. I'm like, man, he might take that like offense to it if he doesn't get it. But
I'm totally offended.
we're barely a podcast.
Totally
Although it's highly
canceled.
accurate in both pun and accuracy.
In the bear world.
That was
He's
pretty
very
funny.
famous.
And since I feel like I dropped the ball on Walt's on podcast, so don't hold us to it, but we're going to give gifts because apparently that's what. So when James and I were on Randy's podcast,
we're going to give gifts now.
yeah,
to all the
he
special
gave
guests.
us gifts. So we have. Hopefully, you're watching on the internets here, and I have a shirt here. If you can see, this is the most fitting shirt that Doug Boze could ever wear.
Yep.
100%.
And it's a
100%.
Sportsman's Alliance shirt. It says "I sued Lorna,"
I like it.
and so we got you one of those.
Thank you, sir.
And as a bonus, James pulling out all the stops. One of our very generous sponsors is the Black Rifle Coffee Co. And you get a Black Rifle Coffee Co. mug. Thank you very much.
Very nice.
And we love all of our sponsors: Black Rifle Coffee, Loophole, Montana Knife Company.
I actually drink Black Rifle coffee.
Do you?
It's called Just Black is the one that I take.
Oh, that's a good
That's
one.
a really good
it's
one.
good
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
So hey,
Old
Bear
JD.
Country Outdoors, thanks for the gifts. Being Wild Boys, I've been on your podcast a couple times now. Where's my gifts?
Shots fired.
Kidding,
Shots fired,
boys,
Jeff.
Just kidding.
Digs are coming.
I think all of our
Step it
special
up,
guests
Jeff.
previous to this are going to be a little jealous.
You know, I think we're going to have Jeff on here pretty soon.
We are, and he's going to be like, "Where's my gift?"
Sorry, we gave it to Doug. He said you owed him.
Snooze, you lose.
Back pay.
That's right.
That's
Well,
good stuff.
I want to get into.
Let's just dive right into
You know,
it.
I did drop the ball real quick.
Okay,
though.
go ahead.
I was banging off sponsors. I didn't mention Tamarack, which just sent us some vests, and more importantly, Caribou Gear.
Caribou gear. Yeah.
I am
And
a
don't
huge.
forget Loophole.
Oh,
Oh,
look at
okay.
him!
I didn't-
I'm
my bad.
head
my
to
bad.
toe. I'm dripping
I
Loophole
know
right
you
now.
are dripping it. It's beautiful.
I'm huge. You know, I'm a Loophole guy. But Caribou Gear is a new sponsor, and if you guys care, what is made by Allen, or like the thin cloth.
Yeah, Alan makes.
The game bags.
the
If
cheap
you
ones?
don't do that. Go to Caribou Gear. Get yourself. They're a couple bucks more than garbage bags.
One-time use.
Yeah, the one-time use bags. Like I think I told the
actually
story.
have some of those.
Yeah, Doug, it's so embarrassing. You don't now because we just got back. So Caribou Gear just sent us bags. I have
I'll
used
just
it.
dispose of those ones.
Yeah, I've used them for like a decade, and I told the story about how like I shot a moose and we threw this moose like off a cliff in these bags, and like the bags are perfectly fine, and I've used them for 10 years. I don't have any because everyone steals them because you could just take them home and wash them.
Yeah.
So big shout out to Caribou. So
And I can vouch for that, man. I use Caribou bags exclusively.
Really?
And
Really?
I'm not sponsored or another by them, and I've used those cheap cloth ones or the cheesecloth ones before, and like the flies or whatever, they'll go right through that stuff.
100%,
It's
and the
horrible.
dirt, and the garbage.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you lay them on the ground, now your meat's covered in dirt. Why do you even have a bag on
Yeah.
it?
Right.
And then the flies can still lay eggs through them, which is
Yep.
disgusting. You know,
I've
so
had that happen, especially this time of year, like October, when the flies are still out, and like you think you're okay because you're okay to hang them for a couple days.
Yeah.
Yeah, you think it's finally cold enough to where
Yeah,
the flies aren't
and
as
you have it in
bad.
the shade, and then you get home and you see these little white clusters on you, like, oh
it's
man.
terrible.
Yeah.
So Doug Boze approved. That's got to say something, right?
Yeah.
No, I didn't
Good
know
stuff.
that.
I'm looking forward to using them. Gonna be hopefully
So-
using them this weekend.
Little background on this man next to us. He is a very famous bear hunting entrepreneur.
Author.
Author.
If you look on the front of the, this is not. This is, I wouldn't say like a stage prop, but like this is my book. Like I
that's
own
Chris's book.
I own Doug's book. It's worn out pretty good. Did he sign it? Yeah, he did. Kind of a big deal.
Thank you for the long nights in there.
But if you, yeah, Yeah, I won't say what I said earlier. 'Cause I don't
No pun intended
Yeah.
there.
But like I've shot a few bears, and I've totally read the book and used some tips and tactics, and it's helped a bunch. I haven't read your new book yet, though.
I know I haven't either.
That's okay.
We're gonna
But
get around
is it ebook or is that on paperback yet?
Paperback, hardback, and ebook.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Damn it.
got your choice.
Drop the ball. I'm a hardback guy.
It's all right. Yeah.
Okay. All
Let's
right.
go. I need
No,
to
you're
buy a
not.
hardback. You're soft.
And
back.
You're
that
a
new
soft
book's
back.
called calling Cougars and Cajun Cats. So it's all about calling cougars and live trapping bobcats, which is what we are reduced to in the state of Washington as trappers.
That's a really good point because Doug and I both are trappers in Washington State, and if you've ever tried to live trap anything, basically it's like, hey, go in this big giant metal box,
Yep.
and it is super duper hard.
Because bobcats are smart.
It's super smart. Anything is super smart when you're trying to put it in a big metal box, and I thought that was pretty cool that you wrote a book about it because I had seen your post before, and I had taken some tips from like some of the stuff you were doing because obviously I can't wait for trapping season. By
Yeah,
the way,
right. It's coming right up.
yeah. I'll shoot. By the way, I'll trap all the little cats, and James shoots all the big cats.
I've noticed.
Yeah.
James is on it as far as
James
bobcats
is
go.
a cat killing machine.
Dude, I
Yeah.
almost got another one right after I shot
I don't
that
want to
one.
hear it. It's super hurtful, dude.
right?
Yeah.
It was a dandy
God, it's
too.
another 35
Oh,
pound
I almost
bobcat I
shot another
shot.
cat.
Yeah.
It's like, son of a bitch.
Shocked.
Yeah.
But
Huge, dude.
speaking of big cats and big cat killers, Mr. Doug Boze killed himself a dandy mountain lion that he called in last year.
Tell us about that.
And I want to hear it I
Yeah.
want to hear the details from like the very beginning. What made you want to go in and do that,
Okay.
and how you went about picking that location.
So it's a Tuesday.
And,
You're
like,
just hanging out.
There you were.
You're like, honey, I'm going to leave. I'm going to leave the house.
Pretty much. It actually dates back like 2 years. So I've hunted that area since like 2009. It was a spring bear draw that I was pushed in this area. And the exact same spot I killed this cat in is the exact same spot I killed my 2009 boar for the spring bear hunt. Same spot within 50 yards.
Wow.
But anyway, so I hunt this area, and 2 years ago or so, I started putting in trail cameras. And I don't really use trail cameras necessarily to hunt. I just kind of have them out there because I'm curious.
You're curious to see what's out there.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, I just like to see uninterrupted animals doing what they do. And on that trail camera, like those 2 years, I had, I don't know how many missed cougar attacks of deer in this creek draw that I have a camera in. And it was like cougar after cougar. I would have multiple cougars on the camera, and I would have bear on there. I would have a multitude of predators. And I would see less and less deer throughout these couple of years. And then prior to this hunt, that winter, I had a 4-month soak of that camera in this one area. And every single one of my shots was cougar.
No kidding.
All of them. Not one deer,
Not
nothing.
one deer.
Holy
And
crap.
I was like, geez. And so this is March, the end of March. So this is the last day to hunt for 2022 season, although it's 2023.
So you went out on the last day of
On the
lion
last day
season.
yeah,
Wow.
for that year.
Cool.
And I was like, well, I've got a couple cameras out here. I'll do a couple of sets just while I'm headed out to go check my cameras and see what happens. So I went out to this spot, and it's like surrounded by blowdowns and brush, and it's grown up a bit since 2009 for sure. But there's little teeny pockets of areas that are naturally cleared from the bears stripping the trees. So the bears have stripped these trees, they've died, and now grass has grown up, and it creates these little teeny like park pockets.
Yeah.
Right? And they're only 50 to 100 yards long, maybe that wide, even less.
Right.
And as time has gotten, it's shrinking up even more. So I grab my Bluetooth speaker and my app, and I throw the Bluetooth speaker up on this stump that's got a tree coming out of it, a cedar stump with a cedar tree. And I back up to this other cedar stump with a cedar tree going out of it. And I put on, in my book I talk about it, but I put on what I call the Predator poncho. And it's this like camo burlap thing that it's basically a poncho I put over myself, and it just kind of breaks up your outline. It makes you look like a stump or whatever.
Yeah.
So I backed up, and I hit the play button, and I have like a calf distress going on for quite a while. And I play for like an hour. And I use kind of a calmer distress and then a more freaked out distress. And then I had a cougar sound that I was able to play off my phone on there too, like a chirp, because they chirp almost like a bird sometimes.
Yeah.
Played that a few times. And in front of me is, my call to my left and right is kind of a grassy area and then a hill. And then behind me is brush and thick trees. And nothing came in, but I have to say, and this only happens to me with cats, sometimes you just get like a bad feeling. Like you get spider senses or tingling, like something's coming in. I don't hear it, I don't see it, but something doesn't feel right. And I got that with this call.
Yeah, the hair stood up on the back of your neck, so to speak.
Yeah, I've had that happen with a bobcat. Like I have video of it where it stopped right at the end of my barrel.
I love that video.
Yeah.
That's a good video.
Like, I felt that coming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then that happened. You're like, holy shit,
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I got that feeling, but nothing came in. I was like, well, I've spent my hour. I'm going to go check the rest of my crap. Because I really wasn't there to hunt. I was just going to go check the cameras.
Mm-hmm.
And so I've been sitting there for a while, and so I kind of rolled to my side, and I put my gun against the stump, and I rolled to my side, and I start to push myself up, and I look and to my blind spot to my right, 13 steps, that cougar was staring right at that call. And I just kind of got up, and I was like, holy crap, because then he turned and looked at me, and I didn't even have my rifle.
Yeah, because he saw you move.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you know how with animals, if you make eye contact, they're out.
Yeah.
And so I just kind of glanced up, and I still stayed hunched up, and I had that poncho on. So I'm sure I didn't look human, but
Yeah.
he was trying to figure me out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I just kind of grabbed my rifle.
He was probably like, what the hell?
Raised up, and he was sitting, and a little bit of brush was blocking him, but he was sitting, but he was tall enough to where I could see his shoulder and his vitals.
Yeah.
So I just aimed right behind the shoulder and shot, and he just twisted once or twice and dropped. And it was 13 steps from where I was sitting to where he died.
And the world wants
Right
to know
behind you.
What does Doug Boze shoot for a rifle?
That was this time around, it was a 223 Savage.
Ooh, nice.
Heavy barrel, 55 grain VMAX.
Nice.
And it didn't even go out the other side.
Really?
Yeah, I just dropped him and kept the hide really nice. And he was probably about, I would say, 155 pounds. The warden thought he was probably 7 years or older. Very
Wow.
healthy cat. He had
Right in his prime.
had deer hooves in his stomach.
Really?
Yep.
Wow.
Lots of deer hair in there.
He ate all the deer.
He was 7'6" from nose to tail. Maybe a tad longer too, because by the time I measured him, rigor mortis had set in on his tail, so it was kind of bent. But that was about
Yeah.
7'6".
Yeah.
But the interesting part is after that happened, and I left the cameras in there. As time progressed, I started to see more and more deer, and then deer with fawns, and now I have much more a variety of animals on my cameras in those same areas, exact same areas, than what I had before. I don't have all cougars.
Right.
I still have a couple of cougars
Right.
that are traipsing around,
Yeah.
but it
You
wasn't
have
like
But
more
don't-
diversity,
yes, for sure.
as the antis like to call it.
Yep. And by the way, for viewers and stuff, like I took the meat.
Yeah.
The meat was good. My wife had some. My family's had some. I gave some to my neighbors. It tastes similar to pork. There was no like weird smell, no nothing to it. And part of it is getting over the mental taboo of, hey, I'm eating a cat. But in
Right.
reality, it's not like a house cat that eats mice and gets worms and it's all gross.
Right.
Yeah.
This cougar's eating deer and elk, like healthy
Yeah.
stuff.
same stuff we like to eat.
Yeah.
Yeah, the
you
same
know?
stuff we like
Super
to eat.
healthy meat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was dense. Like the cougar meat was kind of it's hard to explain, but it's just kind of a dense muscle meat, especially with the roasts and stuff. But it was fantastic. I still have a couple of cuts left, and I'm
Nice.
enjoying it as the winter goes on.
Have
Fall.
you had bobcat?
I have not had bobcat.
I'm curious if it's similar to
I
bobcat.
know. I want to say I've tasted it from someone that cooked one once, but I can't remember if it was actually bobcat or if it was something else. But I'm gonna experiment with that one I just got, the big one.
Yeah.
I want to do it a couple different ways. I've heard like pulled bobcat, like doing it like a pulled pork, like slow cooking it.
I've done pulled pork and sweet and sour,
Just do the
Yeah.
whole thing,
sweet and
Jim.
sour with rice.
Do
And
the whole thing.
All of it was great.
Just
Yeah.
put it on a
Just
smoker.
throw
just
the
a
whole
giant
thing in the
bobcat.
smoker. Yeah.
Just leave the
Rotisserie.
head attached. Like,
I've fried up a bunch
my
of bobcat.
God,
and it's
Yeah.
my wife would freak.
I mean, I thought it was super good. Like
Let's
I've
do it.
breaded it and just fried it up. I mean, obviously the bobcats I'm shooting are not quite as substantial.
Stellar as Jim's over here.
Like I don't know, I mount everything. So if you look
Right.
underneath, luckily this is off camera and you can't see the house cat I have mounted over there. But
It's still cool.
that little guy was
It is
delicious.
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, that was like a light lunch for me. But super tasty.
What's that behind you?
That's a good one too.
Is
That's
that
a good one.
Is that a bobcat or
Yeah.
is that an African?
Yeah, no,
cat?
that's bobcat.
That's bobcat.
Yeah, I shot that in my underwear. It was trying to eat my dog out in the front yard. It was sneaking around the edge. And I shot that thing with my 300 Ultra Mag.
Oh man.
See, bobcats
You got a
are
good taxidermist
they're sneaky.
then,
Like they will live close to your house. They'll kind of sneak around like your
Yeah.
chicken coop, or
Well,
if you have house
you've
pets.
had quite a few stories of
Oh, dude.
bobcat stalking. I remember when you told me about that one that was watching your kid.
Yeah,
out
the one
playing
I
on the
was
playground.
Watching Easton on the playground and was sitting right behind him.
Yeah, that was a big cat.
bobcat.
That was a big one.
They just
that
had a
one's-
bobcat attack today, back east. I think it
Really?
attacked like 3 kids. I mean,
Oh,
it was
wow.
probably rabid, but yeah,
Holy crap!
yeah, wounded one kid in serious condition. I think the other 2 are okay.
Dude,
just
I mean,
scratched up, but-
when you see a big bobcat, you go, man, this thing could do some damage.
Yeah.
Have you ever tried to grab like just a house cat and try
Oh,
to
yeah.
make it do something you didn't want? It
Oh,
didn't
yeah,
want
I,
to.
I won't do it, dude.
Yeah,
Could you
no.
imagine doing that to a bobcat or a cougar? Like looking at that cougar, I'm like, it's a damn good thing that thing didn't get the jump on me because they would have been done.
Oh yeah.
Like those paws were just massive, and you know you would not retract, but you would push out the claws, and they were just like needles, like razor.
Yeah, they're
razor
razor
sharp.
Yeah.
And once they get hooked in, dude, it's just like they will rip you open like a freaking
Oh yeah. Remember that?
razor
Remember
blade.
that deer that we found?
Oh
It
yeah.
was just ripped
Dude, they
open
get
from the claws.
just from that.
Just from the claw. It was just
the
ripped
lion that
open.
jumped on my horse, just you could tell it was just one, and then it just ripped back and it opened it up. Every claw that got in, just opened it up like a freaking Ziploc bag, just zip, wide open. And it's amazing. I mean, that's how when they strike something's
Yeah.
guts, dude, their guts fall out.
Well,
Yeah.
here in less than a year when we go to Africa, right? So leopards, and they talk about like it's 100 stitches a second.
Yeah, I was just gonna bring that up.
Yeah.
That's what they figure in an attack is about 100 stitches a second.
Damn. And like they're basically like, I mean, they're the same as cougars, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
Right.
Like,
For sure.
you know, like they just slap some spots on them, but
And can you
They're
imagine?
definitely probably
like,
a lot more wild though down there because it's
So there's
definitely not as highly populated compared to it is
No.
here.
I think when
Yeah,
one's
a
trying
lot-
to eat you, I don't think it matters.
right. No, it doesn't
they
matter at
definitely
all.
probably are trying to eat you down there.
Right.
I would say though the population of cougars here has to be much higher than it was when I first started hunting because
100%.
I've seen more. I see more cougar kills now than I ever did before. I mean, just on this elk hunt alone, I probably saw close to a dozen cougar kills in different areas. They were like some of them were old, and some of them were more fresh, and some of them still had like meat on the bones, you know. But you could tell there's like more than one cat working that ridgeline in the different draws that I was in and stuff.
You hear about more attacks over east now too, like in eastern Washington.
Yeah. There's a ton of cats where you were hunting
Oh yeah,
for sure. I missed a cougar in that area a couple like years ago.
really.
Yeah, and but there's no question that there's more cougars now than there was whenever you started hunting, which
Yeah.
was in the about what early 90s,
Mid 90s.
mid 90s.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you just look at the incidents that they've had in the northeast corner, and you watch that YouTube video with Giannis Patelis and Meat Eater and stuff about that, and it's shot way up since
Right.
they outlawed hounds and baiting for bear and hounds for cougar. Yeah,
Yeah.
no question.
Isn't it? There's like a cougar attack map or something. Like one of the guys on the coalition.
It's like an
Incident map.
incident map. Or
Yeah.
like,
If they see one or if it attacks an
Yeah.
animal or whatever, yeah. And the
Right.
whole Washington State's like red. I mean, if you go way out, it's red, but then you zoom in and there's
Right.
definitely clusters.
oh yeah.
Yeah.
But
I think it was like Mike Hers or somebody
Dude.
posted something on that, and I was like, and it was kind of zoomed out. It was the whole red. The whole state was just. I mean, it's like you're saying, like the dots would get bigger. Like I was using
Well,
out,
they
but the whole
literally
state
are
was
everywhere.
red.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, holy crap.
Well, what's funny is like the place that me and Jim have been hunting since we were little kids. Like there was this old store, and there was literally dozens and dozens of pictures of huge cats that these old timers killed. Mm-hmm. And we're not talking like little cats; we're talking monster cats. Like the bodies in the bed of the truck and the tails laying on the ground.
Wow.
Like that's how big
There was
these cats.
there was a couple
huge.
of giant cats, like I don't know how big, probably in the close to the 200-pound range, like 180,
Right.
190
Yeah.
pound cats.
100%.
Like
And
stuff
then
that
over
you
the
think
years,
is not real.
Right.
over the years since we haven't been able to hunt in that specific area, like get access to it with a vehicle, there's been been a lot of cats that have been roaming that area.
Well, they've wiping
out all the deer
up there. Yeah.
I was super butthurt, so we went on a bear hunt earlier. The three minus Douglas Boze, can't bring him; he'd kill all the bears.
Oh no.
But we were up there, and the previous year I was super excited because I got
last year. You talking about last year?
this year that we just went.
This year.
Oh yeah.
So
yeah.
but the previous year when we went, right, was the first year I'd been up there, and I'm like, oh yeah, and it was like Predator Central. So I'm up there. It was 2 or 3 days before. It was like
I think it was 2
end of
days.
August, yeah. So it was right before. So September 1st, cat opens, and 3 freaking cougars come out, and I'm like shitting my pants, and I couldn't shoot them, right, because it's 2 days before season or whatever. So going back there this year, I was super excited. I bought like a brand new Fox Pro, and I'm all jazzed up, and I'm like, I'm gonna call these suckers in. I'm sit there. Doug Boze was like, I'll call for an hour. I'm going to do this. It's going to be so sweet.
I read the book.
And show up and come to find out they freaking wiped out all the cats over the winter.
Yep.
And I saw shit tons of fawns everywhere. We
Yep.
saw more fawns over there.
I've seen
I
in
definitely
decades.
saw a lot of deer fawns, 100%. It
Bunches.
seemed like every doe that I saw had a fawn with it.
So the group of cougars that he saw,
Got wiped out by the sheriff.
they were problem cats for the rancher, and they were killing a bunch of steers and cattle. Because I talked to the rancher, and he's like, "Yeah, they came in. There was 3 cats. The sheriff came in, and they took out those 3 cats because they were killing cattle throughout the winter." So I'm like, "Oh, okay." So I'm like, tell Chris, I'm like, "I think those cats are gone, Chris."
And then,
But there was another 2 cats
Yeah,
that were showing up.
so
everywhere.
James throws me a bone like, hey,
I know a spot.
I know a spot.
He knew the road even.
Yep.
Because he looked it up, because these Karens post like on the internet. It's like, I say these cats, like, and they post on the internet, and James like triangulating, and he figures out exactly where they're at. So I drive up this road, find this draw, walk down, totally see cat sign everywhere, and I said same thing. I sit there and I call and I call and I call and I call and I call, and I'm waiting like I'm like
This was the opening day of cat.
It was the
right?
opening
it was
day.
Opening
Yeah.
day. We were deer hunting.
Yeah, I know.
And
Yeah.
I was like, F them deer, bro. I'm here to smash some cats,
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I don't care about deer right now. And I was,
And then what was it? The next day, come to find out that
the
the
next
sheriff's-
day we found out.
the
There
sheriff
was
department got called again.
2 days before.
and they hired someone to come in with dogs, and they got them with dogs.
2 days before
Yeah,
season.
it was
2
2
days
days
before the
before
season.
season. Yes.
Butthole.
You know,
and got both of them.
That's an interesting point. So Chris has freaking Wild Kingdom in here.
Yeah.
He's got a lot of dead shit, but he doesn't have a cougar,
I know.
I don't.
and I do. So now I feel I
Dude,
feel
you-
special.
You should feel special.
Yeah, it hurts.
I don't have
should.
a cougar, dude. I've killed everything.
You did.
And
you did kill a cougar.
I have killed a cougar. That's a story for a different day.
Yeah,
But that is a long story.
that's a super long story.
I
Oh
don't
man,
care.
I totally thought I was going to kill a cat this year.
Because
I was like,
they
I'm
were
gonna-
involved with the
You
story.
got time.
Oh, I'm still going out, and I'm like,
the corrupt game department. You
so
mean?
Yeah.
like for instance,
You should.
if
Tell
you know
that
where my
story.
parties
This is
are
a
at.
good
I'm going to.
podcast
That
tell.
is that's a long
deer
story,
opens
I
Saturday.
think this is a perfect one to tell.
and I'm going hunting on Saturday, and I'm going bear hunting.
That's what I'm doing,
Yeah.
basically.
I'm not going deer hunting. I'm going bear hunting.
I got that late day.
I've
doing
seen
it.
2 people this week kill bears.
I'm doing both. Hopefully, I go back to that back bowl and I shoot a deer, and then I shoot a
I
bear.
think you stand a damn good chance because last time I was back there, 2 bears popped out.
Yeah.
Actually, no, I think it was 3 bears. It was like I don't know if it was a sow with 2 like 2-year-old cubs, or if it was just 3 bears in the same draw.
I think you told me that it was a sow with a cub, and then you seen another bear on its own.
There was a black one, yeah. But anyways, I was already tagged out. Everybody that I was with was tagged out except for my brother, who was up above me, who I just left.
Yeah,
And he
right?
takes off up the ridge, and then I go down a little bit, and I'm like, all these bears are there, and I'm like,
And then these guys are calling me, and I'm at home.
yeah,
Oh, Doug, we wish you were here.
yeah.
I'm
Someone
like, "Son of a
someone needed to have a bear
man.
tag with us, but a couple dandies. But I got a call today from a young man. This is a cool story, so I'm gonna jump into this real quick. I get a call today, and it's a young man that I met at the event and had a
at Skookum?
conversation with. Yeah,
Nice.
and he got my well, he probably got my number from the internets or someone I know or something like that. But anyways, he calls me and he's like, "Hey,
Well, your number is on our website.
I know." It's that easy, folks.
It's that easy,
if you
folks.
really want to talk to me. So he calls me and he's like, "Hey, I got this bear," or his buddy got this bear or something like that. I think it was his best friend shot this bear and he's with him. And he's like, "We got this bear. We don't know what the hell to do." And I'm like, "Okay. Well, what are you planning on doing with it?" He's like, "Well, we're going to take the meat out." And it was like on a farm or something. And because when he FaceTimed me, he ended up FaceTiming me. And so I could walk him through the process of how to get it ready for, he wanted to do a half body. And I was like, "No, bro, that's a nice bear. You got to get it life size."
Yes.
So I'm like,
Yes, that's the Chris Cantrell way.
This is the way.
it was a nice bear. It was probably close to 300 pounds.
Oh, crap.
man.
Yeah. It was a
That was his
dandy-
first bear?
First
Wow.
bear.
Holy
Yep.
shit, man.
Dandy bear too. And I'm like, "Well, how thick is?" First I go, "Well, I'm trying to explain a dorsal cut, you know."
Right.
And I'm like talking to him, and he's like, "Oh, so do it like," and I'm like, "Oh gosh, this is gonna turn out terribly." So
Right.
I'm like, "Okay, we'll do it the old-fashioned way. We'll do the rug cut, you know."
Yeah.
And I'm like, "First, flip it over. Let me see the armpits. I want to see if it's got really bald armpits. Maybe a dorsal cut would be better." And he's like, flips it over. It's just gorgeous, like thick hair all the way through. And I'm like,
Yeah.
"Oh
so
yeah,
like,
we can do
okay,
that."
no problem.
So he's like moving the phone around, and I'm like, "Okay, cut
Really?
up to here. Stop right there. Now go up, and then you're gonna go up to the armpit, and then you're gonna go up and follow the hairline." And so I'm like walking him through, and he's like, "Okay," and then he's like, "Well, we're leaving for deer hunting tomorrow. What am I supposed to do with this?" I'm like, Take the bear and bring it to us out on the island.
Right.
I'm like, just don't deal with the meat now. Just bring it somewhere where you can get it done. If you're leaving.
Make sure it's clean.
Yeah, make sure it's clean.
It's
though,
clean.
'cause-
John, don't go over there with hair on it.
John will bust your ass.
No, jeez, son, look at this. This is a mess.
We love TNT. John and Emery, Mary, we love you guys.
They
Yep.
do a great
Yeah.
job.
He's gonna be like, "You sons of bitches! You keep sending all these people my way."
Yeah.
He tells me the same thing. I'm
Yeah.
busy enough. Don't be sending
Yeah,
me.
yeah. Don't
Yeah,
send
right.
it.
Oh,
I need more
I'm
business.
sorry. I'm trying
Whatever.
to make you some money there, John.
Yes. Emery's taking
I won't.
over.
I won't
soon,
bring you
okay?
any more
Yeah.
business. Then.
You'll be fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But anyways, it was just cool. Like, for one, it's cool that a young man got his first bear.
Mm-hmm.
Two, it's cool that they called me to have
That's
him walk
crazy
him
that
through
he
the-
called
like,
you.
That's technology nowadays. Like, I wish I could have had FaceTime some expert to be like, "Hey,
Yeah.
how
Walk
do
you
I
through
do
the
this?
steps to
You
do
know,
what
the
you
first
need to
time.
do.
You know,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure my first bear was probably just like, like cut all over the place.
Oh, yeah.
Bunch of holes in it.
Oh yeah, actually, I got that one made in a rug. It's the one at the cabin. That little.
Oh,
chocolate.
nice.
It turned out pretty good.
You know what I did with my first bear?
You skinned enough deer to know what you're doing.
Life size.
Life size. The bear with the beehive right there.
Nice.
Life size.
That nice little bear.
Yeah.
That's a cool mount too.
Oh, it's an
that
absolute
is.
smasher. It's like 600-700 pounder.
I just. What is that? 6.5 foot?
It's a bruiser.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Bear mounts are just so cool. You
Yeah.
can never have too many bears.
I was so jacked when I shot that thing.
He's got for the viewers who can't, for the viewers who can't see, he's got a bear standing and it's trying to get into a beehive. It's a pretty sweet mount. The mount's about 7 feet tall total. Not the bear, the mount. The rest of it's cool.
Oh, come on.
It's a gorgeous chocolate bear.
Which was crazy. So this year, I had shot black one after black one after black one. And then I think I shot that cinnamon 2 or 3 years ago. But before then,
was
like the
2
last
years
10 of
ago.
them were almost all jet black. So I was like, this year to get a chocolate, I was so stoked. And then Chris got a chocolate, and then Hartzog got a chocolate.
Right.
Yeah,
cinnamon
you guys all
color.
shot chocolates.
And I don't think we even saw.
Yeah, we did.
Oh yeah, we saw one black one, and you saw a black one too, didn't you?
Yeah.
A huge black one.
We saw that one jet black on my way out.
Oh yeah, the one
On the
walking next to the
private,
truck. Yeah.
That
Hey
ran
Doug,
across
there's
the-
a bear.
Ran across the main road.
Dude, it's
son of
just
a
like
bitch.
walking through a field, and I'm like,
Oh, yeah, I
"There's
saw
a
that
bear."
video.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was crazy.
I was leaving, and it was literally like it ran across the main road. I
Poor
was like,
Doug.
"You son of a bitch!"
And that bear didn't care at all. He was just like,
No,
No, he didn't seem to
Cruising.
care at all.
Uh,
He's like, I'm safe here.
yeah,
You're going to shoot one this weekend, Doug. It's not
Yep.
going to matter.
Yeah, it'll be all good.
I'm gonna be back in that back bowl, suffering, packing out a bear
Redemption
and a
Road.
deer.
Oh, dude, that'd be super sweet.
That's what I'm hoping for.
So how did Doug Boze get started in hunting? I'm a late late adult onset hunter. James and Doug both started super early.
I started hunting when I was 12. Well, I got my hunting license when I was 12. And then, when I was younger, I would shoot starlings, whatever else I could shoot, that my dad wouldn't be upset about. But yeah, I started when I was 12. My grandpa would take me out deer hunting, blacktails. We got in an old 66 Bronco, and I had on boots that were too big, and I was carrying a 30-06 lever action that I probably never shot, and I was wearing blue jeans.
Classic.
And it was downpouring, and
Right.
I'd have a 6-pack of Coke in the back of the Bronco, and then we would cook with a old Coleman stove on the back. Grandpa would have coffee, and of course I was freezing to death, so he'd give me coffee, and that's kind of where I got my coffee addiction.
Yeah, right.
And my grandpa, he used to smoke like Prince Albert's. He'd roll his own cigarettes, and so he'd be driving with the Bronco with his elbows and rolling his cigarettes.
Dude, this sounds awesome.
Yeah.
It was great. And then, but like
This sounds like our hunting stories.
Yeah, it does.
hunting as a kid, like, I never had a backpack. I might have had water, maybe.
We would go out with like a water bottle.
I would go out with like
you
a
know,
water
right?
bottle.
One water
Yeah,
bottle.
like a buck knife. And
Yeah.
this is before they even had water bottles. Like when they started selling water bottles, I'm like, I'm never buying a water bottle. I'm not paying 90 cents
Right,
for water.
right.
When I was a kid, they didn't sell it.
Dude,
Right.
I had
Like, who's
I had
gonna buy
a
water?
Marlboro canteen, like a Marlboro country that you get for turning the cigarette packs.
Right.
Yeah. So I used to carry that around.
And so like, I wasn't ever really successful as a young kid or whatever. He would park at like the top of a cut and be like, "All right, I'll meet you at the bottom." And so then I'd just get soaked going through this cut, and he'd probably wait for me to flush a buck to him.
Yeah,
was his
right,
idea.
That's exactly what he
He'd
was
drop
doing.
you off and drive down to the bottom and wait for you.
Yeah. And then when like when the Huskies came on, he'd be like, "All right, we're gonna have lunch," and we would sit and watch a gully, and he'd be cooking, and we'd have like Dinty Moore stew and rolls, and that's kind of like my early childhood until I was 18, 19. When he died when I was about 21, and I just kind of quit hunting for a good couple years because he was kind of my hunting partner. My dad was
Right.
too busy with work and everything else.
Right.
But now as my dad's gotten older and my brother's older and everything else, my younger and older brothers, we all kind of hunt together now. And so there was a span there in my life in my early 20s to late 20s that I didn't hunt. I bought a Mustang. I sold my truck. I was, chasing girls and all that other stuff. So yeah, but then as I got older, I continued to hunt. So my grandpa was with me when I shot my first deer. He was cooking the Dinty Moore, and I hopped up on a log jam, and there was this spike blacktail, like looking at him, and I took a shotgun and I shot, and he thought I might have been shooting at him or something. So I shot once and shot twice. He goes, "Quit shooting." He says, "What?" He goes, "Does it have antlers?" I go, "Well, I think so." And so we go down there, and it was a spike, and the spike was almost dead. And like kicked him in the leg, and then it died, So of course it kicks my grandpa. And anyway, we got it out and take it up there. And I was with him on his last buck. So his last buck was
That's cool.
a couple miles from where I live now, up at Lake Kavanaugh area. And we were looking at another gully. This is his thing for lunch, and he says, "Man, there's a buck right there." And I says, "Where?" He says, "Well, does it have horns?" And I was like, I couldn't see it. I was like, "Sure," I didn't know. And we were shooting the same guns.
Right.
And he goes, "I can't find my clip. Give me your clip." So I gave him my clip. He shot, and then he dropped a really nice, like 4-point blacktail that
Nice.
hangs in my man cave right now.
Cool.
And unbeknownst to us, there was a couple of guys who had been hunting this buck for like a week or something, and they were up on this ridge behind us, and they watched us shoot it.
Yeah.
And my grandpa and I were struggling to get this stupid thing out, and they came down to help us. Well, fast forward to when the internet was invented, because this is prior.
Right.
And then I posted this buck on Huntwa,
Uh-huh.
and a couple of guys were like, "Hey, did you get that over at Lake Kavanaugh area?" Blah blah blah. I says, "Yeah." He goes, "We're the guys who helped you drag it out." I'm like, "Holy shit!"
Yeah.
What a
kidding.
small world,
Right.
Like 20 years later.
That's
So
cool.
yeah, that's kind of how I got started. Long story short.
Well, they should reach out to us, and we'll give them a free Coors Light in the man cave down here.
There you
Free
go.
Coors Light.
Yeah. Can we give away booze on the internets? I don't know.
I don't know.
We can do whatever we want. This is barely a podcast.
Yeah, sure, good point.
Do what we want.
We make
Speaking
our
of,
own rules.
did you know that I reached out to Coors Light because I was like, hey, we
Because
would
you are the sponsor man.
we would be great ambassadors.
Wait,
for
you didn't
Coors
reach
Light.
out to Bud Light first?
You know, my jaw was sore that day. I just
Dun-dun.
no. No, you know what? I was, before all that nonsense, I've never been a Bud Light guy.
I never liked it either.
Never once.
The taste, for some reason, I just
didn't like taste of the beer.
It's I've never been a Budweiser guy either.
If you're going to drink shit beer, right?
I mean, if I was to pick, I would probably drink Budweiser over Bud Light.
I can't drink any of it, dude.
I was always a Coors Coors Light. I was more of a Coors Light guy, though.
I struggle with just light beer in general.
When I was a young man, I was a Busch tall boy. They used to buy them by the flats.
Remember the flats? I remember the flats.
Yeah, I'd buy Busch Light.
Busch Light? Oh,
yeah.
We just went with regular old Busch.
Dude, Busch Light, and I would buy the same thing, and I would buy it. Like, I remember I was in charge of beer one time. It was at elk camp, and I remember I showed up and I had 13 cases of Busch Light, and the guys were so pissed at me. And I'm like, this is good beer.
Busch Light.
Because it's Busch Light. I went to Central
like
Washington University, for Christ's sake. Busch Light's like, you know.
Yeah.
And they were super pissed, like, we're going to drink this crap all week, you know? And I'm like, it's good beer, you know? Like,
come on.
it was $8 a case. Come on, you know? Like,
we used to always, our deer camp tradition for beer was always
James would
the
always
Busch
get
Hunter cans.
You'd get the Hunter cans, the camo cans.
Yeah, the camo cans were the Hunter. They'd have it in Hunter orange, you know. And now I'd probably taste it and be like, "Oh, this tastes like shit," you know. But when I was younger, you know,
Yeah, you don't care when you're young.
we used to drink
it's
a
a
lot more
little-
beer in deer camp, and we used to be okay getting up early and staying up till 1 o'clock
Oh
in the
yeah,
morning.
we'd
And
get
we
two-
would-
yeah.
we were
hou-
young, you know.
We'd get 2 hours of sleep, and
I do
just
that
be
now,
full of
dude.
piss and
I'd be
vinegar.
freaking wrecked. Like,
Yeah.
no,
No, you
I'll have
wouldn't.
like a
No, you wouldn't.
I would
You-
still do
you'd
it,
Still do
but-
it.
oh my
I don't
God.
think
We're
I-
getting up.
You
yeah.
say that, and then you get to deer camp or what camp you're at, and you do it, and you're like, "We're going for it, boys! Saddle up!"
Yep. No, I haven't done that for a hunting. Well, I don't even remember.
Speaking
the last
of
time I did
hunting
that.
questions and Doug questions, did we get some from the internet?
We got lots of questions from the internets.
Yeah, we better get to that before we run out of time. I think we're doing okay though.
Yeah, I just got to figure out how to get to it.
I'm a Coors Light guy. Like if I got to get stuff done,
Wait.
or I'm a bourbon guy. But if I'm going to drink good beer, like Skookum IPA, they have a bunch of good IPAs. I'm an
The
IPA
Jackass
guy.
IPA. Oh man,
I
that
like
one
it.
had me singing.
They got a couple hazy IPAs there.
Yeah.
You.
Okay. You ready for some questions, Doug? We're
Hit-
going to knock
hit
these
me.
out of the way.
Yeah, me.
This comes from Brandon Keller. Do you know this person?
I do know this person.
Okay.
Actually, he sent me an email today. He says, if they pick this, you're going to kind of smile. So I'm curious what the question is.
He says, ask Doug, how cool is the VP of the Washington chapter of the American Bear Foundation?
So that's the VP of the American Bear Foundation.
How cool is he?
He's cooler than me because he's a Cascade outfitter. So that's the name of the outfitting guide that he runs. So
Really?
yeah, he's an outfitter, and that automatically makes him cooler than I am.
That's pretty cool.
I don't know if he's killed a cougar, so he might be down on that one. But other than that,
Yeah.
but he's still he's still a great guy.
Cool.
And it's great to have him on the board.
Lost Valley Traditions. I am very familiar with these guys on the
We're gonna
internets.
quick pause though.
What's up?
I want to give
Stephen Renelia.
No, yeah, I'm gonna Stephen Renelia real
Okay.
quick. I'm gonna let you finish.
Thanks, Chris.
I'm gonna give the old American Bear Foundation a plug right now. I'm a big fan.
Oh,
Yep.
thanks.
Me too.
In those of you who don't know, Doug is head of the Washington chapter, and
He's a Presidente, right?
El Presidente, that's
Yep.
me.
El
Yeah.
Presidente.
and
Nominated.
I just got signed on as a life member. I was dragging my feet.
Thank you.
Joe just sent me a backpack. That was pretty cool.
It's a sweet backpack.
Yeah,
right?
it's a
Stone
sweet
Glacier backpack.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I got it sitting over there.
Right
and so thanks, Joe. I'm a big fan. So if you guys aren't a member,
I'm too poor to be a life member
if you
yet.
Can't
So
find it tomorrow. I think you know who might have taken
Doug, not this Doug. That Doug really likes that backpack. It's a nice Stone Glacier makes some really nice
Yeah,
stuff.
they do.
And there's I don't know the guys there, but James and I went and visited when we were in Bozeman. Sweet place, nice stuff.
oh yeah,
Yeah.
really nice headquarters.
But back to the American Bear Foundation. If you go to
BearFoundation.org.
.org,
You can sign up for a life membership, or you can sign up yearly for $35 to $45, depending on if you just do that, or with Howl, howl.org, or howlforwildlife.org,
Yeah, the
which
joint
is
one.
another
yeah.
good company to kind of plug. Not company, but nonprofit. Yeah, and so we are involved in just being a voice for bear hunters for Washington State and bear hunting itself and bears as well, bear habitat. So we just started this year, wrote my first check for $1,000 to the Sportsmen's Alliance to help sue the Department of Fish and Wildlife Game Commission when appropriate.
Yeah, buddy.
Thank you very much.
Which was awesome.
Yeah.
Proud to do it. And so, yeah, if you can help out with a membership, or we'll be looking for volunteers soon to help with like hair traps and den studies and stuff like that, that would be awesome too. So we're happy to have anybody who is interested in bears and bear hunting.
Reach out, shoot Doug a DM.
That's right.
He'll be happy to hook you up.
Absolutely.
Yeah. No, I'm a big fan. Animal Life member. So get off the couch. Get
I'm
your
gonna
shit in
do
gear.
it soon. I need
Get
to
them
save
thumbs running on
save
your
dollars, all
cellular
these
telephones.
damn film costs are eating into my.
Yeah.
Here's it.
into my
I
American
bought.
Bear
I
Foundation
don't
money.
even know what membership. It was $1,000 for a life membership, and I got a $700 backpack out of the deal.
Which is a good deal. And you get
That's
a
a
life
fantastic idea. It's like, what a great idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and you get
100%.
a life supply of Bear Hunting Magazine, which is also a fine magazine, so you get a life subscription to that too.
Which if you guys don't know, Mr. Doug Boze writes articles all the time for Bear Hunting Magazine.
I'm a big fan of that magazine.
Yep. We got to run in and had a little quick conversation with the old Clay Newcomb when we were in Bozeman.
Clay had his mouth
totally
full with his
corralled
lunch,
him though.
and I literally was like, "Hey, put your sandwich down and shake my hand."
The story is hilarious.
Never met him in my life. He's like sitting with all the meat
corralled
eater
him.
guys, and I just like walk up, and he's just like mid mouthful.
Well, what's the big dick move that James pulled on you? Right? You went over and introduced yourself.
Oh,
and
yeah,
then-
so, like-
and then James walked over and he's like, "Hey, I know you."
Yeah, I was like, hey, he's literally eating, and I just walk up, total asshole, and I'm just like, hey, well, we're sitting there with Randy. So we're sitting there with Randy to back up. I'm sure we said the story, but so me, James, Randy Newberg, sitting there having lunch, post podcast. Randy's the sweetest guy on the planet, by the way.
Yep.
Really nice guy. And we're talking, and then all the meat eater crew comes in because everyone's in kind of that same area. And so Clay was with him, and I'm just like, and I'm trying to sit in there, and I'm just like, I want to like, you don't get many opportunities to meet people of like this caliber, right?
Yeah.
And in the bear hunting world, he's a big deal.
Right.
So I'm like, I want to introduce myself. I want to make this contact. He seems like a cool guy. I don't know if he drinks beer, but I like to have a beer with him, right?
So you just went for it.
Well, at the time, like he's talking with Randy, I'm like, I'm not going to be rude and interrupt, and then they just go sit down, and I'm just like, Chris, come on. So Randy pays for our lunch, by the way.
Yeah.
Freaking such a nice guy. And he gets up and leaves, and James gets up and leaves, and I'm like, nope. So I get up, walk over to this table, this huge table. There's like, I don't know, 10 guys or whatever, and they're all eating.
Yeah.
And Clay's literally like mid-bite, and I'm like, hey, how you doing? Sorry to interrupt your lunch. I'm Chris Cantrell, Bear Country Outdoors. And I like put my hand out, and he's just like awkwardly looks at me. He's like, I guess I'll put my sandwich down, It's super. And he was so nice, by the way. All those guys are so nice. And he shakes my hand. He's like, nice to meet you. And then James sees what I'm doing, walks up, and he's like, James puts his hand like, hey, I'm James. And he looks at him. He's like, oh, yeah, I know you. And I'm like, you son of a, you just kind of right up behind me and big dick me.
Yeah.
But I thought it was very nice of him to like not be an asshole, because it's
Right.
kind of rude to interrupt someone's lunch,
100%.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And so he was.
I mean, how would you feel if somebody came up to you like that? I mean,
you got to imagine though.
you have
it's-
to be professional too at the same
But
time.
I didn't know any of the other guys. I'm sure they're all a big deal as well. But like they were all meat eater guys, and they're all all of them were super nice. Like
Yeah.
they're all just like, hey, good, have a great day.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, you too. Beep.
and then they were talking some shit after you.
Oh
walked
yeah,
out.
like
Oh,
that.
yeah,
was,
they're like, who's that guy that just interrupted our lunch?
I think that big guy's,
Rude.
I think that big guy's on the spectrum. I'm glad we didn't piss him off. Flip the table over or something.
I would have went over and said hi too. Like I think Clay's a cool cat. I
Yeah.
think he's a good guy, and I've spoken to him a little bit just via Instagram or whatever, but nothing major. But yeah, he's a good guy. It's a good addition to the Meat Eater crew. I just watched their new one on YouTube today with bear hunting up in Alaska, and that was a good show.
The one where he shoots it in the wetsuit.
Yeah, so they have some predator calling, and then
Oh,
they have
dude, I
that.
can't wait
and
to
so
watch
it's,
that.
it's a good
Really?
one. It's
I
one of my
haven't seen
favorite
that one.
episodes.
It's on season
It
12.
just came out.
The wetsuit, like he goes.
That's pretty legit.
dude. I was like,
Because I've literally where he shot that, I've hunted right there. Travis, my buddy, missed a bear like literally right up the beach from there.
Really?
Yeah, like we pulled the boat up to the beach and he crawled out and missed, and there was a scope.
There's some
It's
big
like,
ones.
I know where you're
Okay,
headed.
that was quite the rant.
Sorry,
We got sidetracked
Yeah.
pretty good there.
I do that
That's a
sometimes.
normal occasion.
back
on this
back
show.
to questions for Doug Boze here. So, Lost Valley traditions. These boys like to hunt. Terrain features you specifically look for when calling cats, brush, river, etc. Question mark.
Brush, river, etc.
That's what you look for.
No, so you like the brushy areas. You ideally you kind of want to call. You want to call to where they're above you, so you make it easy for them to come down to you. So if there's like in Eastern Washington, if there's a creek bed that's brushy, and then there's some rocky crap up above you, you climb into that creek bed where it's nice and dense, and you predator call. Now, the whole idea is to let them feel safe in that brush, because lots of times they don't want to come out in the wide open.
Right.
They don't want to come out.
So it's going to be
Skirt around,
close.
Yeah.
But that's the fun of it. For me, like, I think it's cool to have a bear running at you, slobbering, and it's going to jump on you if you don't make the shot, type of thing. And that's cool to have a cougar 13 steps from you. Like, yeah, it's scary, but I don't know. That's the allure
living.
of it.
That's what
you
you
know?
live
Living,
for.
And so if you can call in a cat, to me, if you can call in a cat within that range,
So you want them
that's fair
coming
game.
down.
coming down, or
that makes a lot of sense.
Well, it's like the opposite of turkeys, though, right?
Well, think
'Cause
about
turkeys
it.
will
It's
come
like
uphill, but they won't
A
come
lot
down.
of cougars are like watching their prey from up above,
Yep.
whether they're
They're
in
waiting for
in
that
a
moment to
tree
move
or
down.
up on some rocks. It makes sense.
but you want that brush too, because they're ambush hunters, right? They're not going to run you down, type of thing
They're
necessarily.
not going to go out in the open terrain.
The whole idea is to get close to whatever you're doing and to be able to pounce once or twice or three times
Yeah.
and choke it out.
and be done with it.
And you're the thing they
Bam.
want to choke out.
Yep.
So yeah,
I'll choke a cougar out.
yeah.
That's a good,
I'll choke a cougar
that's a
out.
good
Rear
tip
naked.
there.
Night. Talking night.
Go sleep.
Jeff, I think this is Jeff Holbrook.
That sounds familiar.
If the Hornets were still mad, how much did I miss that bear on the trail by? Question mark. I don't know what he's referring
I think
to.
he's referring to. I posted a picture
Oh, I
Of-
saw that. Yeah, that
of
was crazy.
hornets that were dug up
Yeah.
over in the Clockham.
Oh, okay.
And I know that there was bear in the area because my brother saw a bear in the area the day before, and that was within 50 yards of that kill that I posted, that elk deadhead, and
Oh, it's a dandy bull, by the way.
yeah,
That was a dandy bull. That was a super cool picture, by the way. If you guys don't follow Doug on the Instagrams, it's
Boze and Bears. So
Boze and
Boze and Bears. That's just my last name. And Bears.
that the elk picture is
It was cool.
super cool.
It breaks my heart to leave it there.
Yeah.
But whatever.
Right.
You gotta do what you gotta do.
Right.
Friggin' Washington laws.
I
yet
think
again.
that personally, I think that that picture I showed was within a couple of days. I don't think it was brand new fresh, because when I went there, it looks like it kind of is because the dew on the ground makes the dirt looks fresh.
Mm-hmm.
But that was in the morning, and I think it was within a couple of days that happened. But yeah, the hornets were still in there, so I didn't wipe out the entire nest, but it was fresh enough to where I'd want to stick in the area and predator call.
Okay.
I'm sure that bear was pissed off.
Oh yeah, you
Dude,
imagine?
big time.
Probably
yeah.
got stung a gazillion times from the hornets.
Yeah.
Mrs. Smith 12V. Do you know who that is?
I do not.
I wonder if bears are, what's the word I'm looking for?
Carnivores.
No, not carnivores.
Awesome.
Like they can, like the stings don't bother them.
Oh.
I think they're definitely not like if me and you get stung a bunch of times, we're gonna be like and run away. I think a bear can probably take a good amount of stings before it
Or
not
like
bothered.
the allergic, like that picture that you
or
posted.
they just don't sting them because
I
they
had-
have all that hair on them.
I had a
Right,
nest
you
over
know?
here, and I got stung a bunch of times here this last year.
Mm-hmm.
I had a kid helping me, and we're loading the dump trailer, and there was I didn't notice it, but there was a stump, and they had built I'm not shitting you. It was like this deep, looked like a reverse,
Oh,
Jetsons underneath the ground. Stung the shit out of me,
Ugh.
and I go booking right because I'm a puss. And I'm like, and they stung, and I had shorts on. They stung the absolute shit out of my ankles, right? I don't know, like 10, 15, 20 times, right? And I'm like, and the kid's 18, he runs off. He's like, what a puss, weird, okay, My freaking legs itched like crazy for like a week to the point where, so my wife's a physician, right? And I'm telling her, I'm like, I think I need to go to the doctor. And she goes, you need to quit being such a pussy.
Yeah.
And I'm like, no, I can't. I could, the first night I did not sleep. All night I laid there and itched my legs. That's how bad it itched.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
Well, itching is better than having your freaking legs swell up the size of a watermelon. That's what happens to me.
Because James
Really?
is definitely
Yeah.
allergic.
Oh,
yeah.
I mean,
I've
it
had to
swelled up a
have
little
I've
bit,
had
but
to have epinephrine shots because of getting stung by bees.
really,
The funny thing
Dude,
was,
it's crazy.
how about last year when we go over there and the
oh my
wasps were
God.
so bad?
They were so bad.
Right?
Oh, yeah,
and
that's
I
right.
called Jim and like, hey man, it's like you might want to prepare yourself because there is a shitload of
We went to
wasps and hornets over there.
Tanasket and I bought a case of those
Yeah.
bee traps.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, and we
it
used
was
all
like
of 'em.
it was like 8 mortgage payments I paid for a case of bee traps, but I didn't want my buddy to die. You know,
They were everywhere around the. It looked like Christmas lights.
And
hanging
then not
around
just
the
that,
counter.
it's like we warned James, right? Because he was going to be the last one over there, and he still didn't bring any epinephrine shots.
No, I didn't. And luckily, I didn't get stung on
You
that
did
trip.
get stung,
Dude, I was very calm because I'm like, they kept landing on me. I'm like,
Oh yeah,
and if
They-
you know
they
me,
definitely
I
were gonna land on
freaking
you.
hate bees, dude. I'm the first one to take my hat off and kill that sucker. But there's so many, I was just like, calm, because I didn't want to get stung.
There was a lot of them over there. It was insane.
All right, back to questions, Doug.
Okay.
Mrs. Smith 12V says, can you have Brent Reeves record himself reading your book and put it on iTunes? ? Who's Brent Reeves, first of all?
I think it's that. They got that big beard.
isn't he the guy on Meat Eater?
Yeah, he's one of the guys on Meat
Yeah.
Eater, but he has this really long kind of gray beard,
Yeah.
glasses. He's kind of a like the rest of those boys, kind of hillbilly.
country.
Yeah.
I like that guy.
Oh, isn't that the guy that is with the Clay Newcomb a lot?
Yeah, he's with Clay.
Okay, yeah, I
Bear
like
Grease
that guy too.
podcast.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I like that guy too.
Hey, he
Did
seems
we
like a
just
really
become
nice
best friends? Do you want to go do karate in the garage right now?
Yep.
guy. Brent Reeves.
I'd have to ask him.
You should ask him.
Yeah, I'm
That'd
sure.
be
I'm
hilarious.
sure he'd be on board.
You know, this is just totally random, but I would love to have stuff like this on audiobook because I'm an Audible guy because I'm in my truck all the time. And let's be honest, guys, I can't read. I just like pictures and scratch and sniff. So if you could get somebody to read that, like real nice.
I'll read it for you, Doug. I'll do it like kind of a dirty version, like throwing a couple cuss words. Hey, that wasn't in my book. Oh, shit. Sorry.
Oh, that's all right. It'd be the PG-13 version.
Yeah, we'll do a PG version, a PG-13, a rated R. Chris can do your rated R for you. If you
James,
want.
I would pay to watch you read that book.
Just do it. Put it on Audible.
What word is this, Doug?
Doug,
Cat in
Phil,
Tahiti.
Jeez, guys.
Today,
really
Junior.
bringing it out, aren't we? All right, I think that's it for the questions that I'm going to ask.
Okay.
A couple of these
Fair
other
enough.
ones were.
I got some questions.
Okay. I got some answers.
I got a couple questions.
Okay.
Let's say that I'm not James and I haven't shot 20 bears,
Okay.
which he shot his 20th bear this year. Congratulations, James.
Yeah, awesome.
It's a big
Thank
deal.
you. Thank you.
If I wanted to shoot my very first bear, what would be your number one piece of advice?
Number one piece of advice. It's basic, but it's difficult. So it's find the food, find the bears. That's what I always tell people. And that sounds real simple, but it's not always so simple.
It's not simple at all.
Never.
But that's a good piece of advice because
Yeah.
if there's no food around, the bears could care less more than likely because they're all about calories. So
I think
you need to figure out what the bear is eating for your specific area for that specific time of year because it changes month to month, week to week,
100%.
sometimes day to day. It just depends. So you need to find out what they eat, like what berries, what nuts, what brush, what are they eating? Are they eating cactus pawpaws? Are they eating? Are they tearing up stumps? What are they doing?
right.
Because it varies.
Mm-hmm.
But what is the same is that they are concerned about food.
All the
That
time.
goes for
100%.
whatever
yeah.
state, right?
Yeah.
So that's the big thing. Is just
Yeah.
narrowing that down. You narrow that down, and you're 90% there.
I think that's solid advice. And when I went to last year was my first time ever hunting over where James has his cabin, and I go with him and Doug, and they're walking me around, and they're saying, oh, we got to go over by this and go by that, and like I'd never been to that part of the country ever, and I'm like, I'm like, I mean, I've killed a couple things, but like I'm like, tell me more about that. What is this? What is that? What do those look like? What's this? What's that? And like, I'm sure they probably got irritated as shit with me, but every time I was with James or Doug, I'm like, hey, what's this? What kind of,
Well,
like, what berry is this? What's that?
I think a lot of the times we're always like pointing those out too at the same time.
It's really
like,
interesting
here's
to
this
know.
food, and over in that area, there's a handful of different berries that are ripe at that time too.
Mm-hmm. You gotta
And
know
you
what
have
they're
to- you have to-
targeting.
You have to pick and choose, exactly what they're targeting. And over the years, we kind of known like they hit these specific berries at this point first, right? Because when you see their scat everywhere, you can tell what they're eating.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
That's what I was going to bring
Yeah.
up. Is if you're having problem figuring out what they're eating, if you're finding
Yeah.
scat, that's telling you, provided it's fresh.
Yep.
Go dig through some shit, people.
Yeah, and then figure out what berries or what is that they're eating.
Yep.
That will tell you. Yeah.
That's a pretty solid piece of advice.
And-
That's a pro tip.
And where we hunt, they eat a lot of choke cherries. So when you see a lot of pits in their shit, they're eating choke cherries.
Pits in their shit. That's a pro tip right there.
Pits and their shits. Over
Now-
here, they'll get into cherries too, but the cherries are different, obviously. But that's
I know
usually
that
more
I
of
know
like
I know they're hammering the salmon berries like immediately
springtime,
Yeah.
and then
as soon as those come on.
blackberries, they'll switch to those. Blueberries. It just depends on the terrain and the area you're into. Where
Yeah, the blueberries and the huckleberries are definitely hitting big time.
But
And
see,
those
that's for
aren't-
us.
Those are
right?
right. Yeah. over
Eastern
here.
Washington's different,
Yeah,
Mhm.
and
exactly.
that's in our same state. So
yeah, you have to
it-
know. You have to know the source of food in your area and understand like
It's
when,
vastly different here.
Yeah.
when
Oh, yeah.
it's gonna be ripe or in season, and you just have to
Yeah.
kind of judge. Like
everything's
what-
hitting off at different times too.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
depending on the weather and
It's very region specific.
Yeah.
Yeah.
These last couple years have been super hard to gauge. Like I have set times I look forward to. Like okay, last week August, first week. It used to be first week of September would really be like
Right.
that's the perfect time to go, right?
Yeah, the last like 5
But it
years have
keeps
been
getting
all
pushed
over
back.
the place.
Like we went, or the earliest that I've ever gone this year, we left, what was it, like around the 20.
We went for the last week of
21st or
August.
22nd or something like that.
And the berries were 2 weeks early.
Yeah, we were 2 weeks
Because
too
I
late.
was over there the first weekend of August, and the berries were like almost right on point. And I put a trail camera out, and
Yeah.
they got hammered. Like within
I
those
don't
2
know.
weeks
We
that we were there, I was there, and then we got there. And between that 2 week period is when the berries were just got
Boom.
annihilated.
And that's where your cameras were popping off like crazy too.
Yeah, because I had bears in that area.
And if you
like,
can hit
almost
that
every
magic
day.
time,
yeah.
that 1 to 2 week period when the bears are at their peak of
Right.
feeding, that's when you're just going to see bears all over the place.
Yeah, for sure.
To downgrade our target animal size, trapping season starts in 3 weeks.
Yes, it does.
Pretty excited about that.
Yeah.
Let's talk about your number one tip to trap a bobcat,
I
because
wanna hear
again,
this. Yeah.
we have to live
almost
trap in
impossible.
Washington State.
Yep.
So you have to get them to go inside a
Climb
metal
into
cage,
this cage.
Yeah.
My number one.
or 2 or 3.
Let's do 2 or 3.
Let's do 2 or 3, because I feel like I was just thinking like I gotta. You'd have to be like 3.
We'll do 3. Okay, so number one would be like you want to make a cubby hole, and you want to make it dark because curiosity killed the cat, and that stands for bobcats too. So you want to make them curious. Your cat, if you have one at home, they likes to check out boxes, right? You put a box or a shoebox out, that thing's crawling in there and looking. You want to make the same thing with your
They
traps.
like to go in caves too, right?
Caves,
Yeah.
anything that's
Dark.
that's
hole.
Yeah,
dark. So
dark holes.
when I put down a trap, I'm enclosing the top, the 2 sides, and then the back as much as I can with brush and grass and all this other crap, so they don't see through, and it's just a little cubby hole they want to check out. Now, how I get them to go to that cubby hole is you want to have some sort of visual stimulant. So this is tip number 2, and that can be like as simple as a CD, a music CD that is kind of bright.
For the kids that don't know, It's a round disc with a reflective side.
Yes, that's
There's
shiny.
a hole in the middle.
Yep.
It's a compacto a disco.
It makes you feel really old, right?
I know, right?
You've heard that joke. Do you
I
like
still
tapes or
listen to
CDs?
Doug.
No, I haven't heard the joke.
Do you like tapes or CDs? And they're like, I don't know which. And he said, well, CD is nuts in your mouth. Snoop Dogg told it. Anyway, you want something kind of shiny. So the idea behind a CD is it will shine even on low light situations. So at night it will kind of reflect. And cats like motion. You throw a cat outside, it's not sniffing like your dog. It's looking around for that bird that's moving. Same idea with trapping. So either it's a CD or you have maybe like a grouse wing or something light and feathery that's blowing around. That motion will attract the cat. And so you want that kind of maybe out toward an open field or something open where they can see that from a long distance or at least a decent distance. The other tip I would give would be to take like your normal stuffed animal that you would have for a dog or a little kid or something like a rabbit, whatever it might be, and glue some googly eyes, big ones, to that animal and then wire that to the back of the cage. And so when the cat looks in there, it looks like there's a rabbit or something with big goofy eyes, and the cat goes in there to check it out, and then it's a done deal.
Jeez, I never thought about that.
Yeah, geez, I've never
Big
watched.
googly eyes.
Yeah.
You can get those at like Hobby Lobby.
Oh
or
yeah,
whatever.
Pro
pro
tip.
say yeah.
Hobby Lobby.
Yeah.
Pro tip:
Pro tip.
googly eyes.
Yeah.
Captures the cats.
This is the most bizarre.
If I
sounding
trap a
thing.
cat with googly eyes thing, I'm going to be like, Doug
Is that in
Boze,
your
man,
book?
That guy.
Yeah.
digging through. Sorry, Gloria, I need this for my
Gonna
trap.
Renaissance
Just taking
man over
your
here.
kids.
Start ripping them off their animals.
Yeah. So if you steal your kid's stuffed animal and make
So
use
if
of
you
it,
if you glue more eyes on the stuffed animal, the chances increase, right?
Oh,
maybe.
boy.
You have like
I've always
He's
thought
not
so.
saying have 6 eyes on the animal.
You don't want
have like
Medusa.
80 eyes like glued on the stuffed animal.
Doug's got a Monster Inc. thing in the bag.
Yeah.
The bobcat looks in there. Holy shit! It's a
What is
mutant rabbit. I have to have one of these.
You want it curious, not scared. So
Jeez, Doug.
yeah.
What's the craziest thing you've ever trapped?
Bobcat. Bobcats are like they're cool, I love skunks too. I don't like to skin them, but I think skunks are really cool animals.
Mm-hmm.
They, what animal kind of sprays that stench like a skunk? Hardly any. And,
Yeah.
and they have beautiful fur. They
Yeah.
got really cool claws.
I heard who was telling us that skunk is like one of the best attractants to catch bobcats.
Who was that?
Colton
Yeah.
over because he does it in
Yeah.
Montana. They
He
do,
traps a shit ton of bobcats.
like an obscene amount. He told us a story about like
yeah.
how many bobcats they caught in one season. I was like, wow, that's impressive.
Yeah. Well,
But yeah, he said something about like he
Well,
told some.
ba-
I don't know. We'll have to have Colton on to tell the story.
Well, how
but
bad is a skunk stink?
now,
Yeah.
dude, they're
They're pretty
terrible.
Well, exactly.
And
Yeah.
it sticks to you for about a week.
Yeah.
My
But
wife
apparently
loves
it
it
drives
when I
bobcats
skin one
crazy.
of
So
those.
you can imagine. I can imagine why.
Doug, you put it on for cologne, just like
Well, and
some skunk
now
bile.
that I can't smell with COVID or nothing, like I don't care. Like that dead elk.
right?
My brother smelled that thing from 200 yards. That's how he found it originally.
Really?
And I went to go find it, and I walked right up to it, and he's like, "Oh, did you find it?" I go, "Yeah." And he goes, "Wow, it reeked, didn't it?" I was throwing up. I go, I didn't even smell it. Like, it's nothing to me.
So tell me about you're leaving for a deer hunt tomorrow.
Mhm.
When you go mule deer hunting, what are you focusing on?
Lunch.
You.
So
Amen.
there's
My man.
everything's pumpkin patch, right? Like
Yeah.
a lot of it's modern season.
It's modern. Yeah.
Yeah.
Modern open Saturday.
Yeah, modern open Saturday.
Obviously, you've had some good success. What are you focusing on
Orange
or
Army's
not
out.
focusing on that can lead to your success mule deer hunting, especially during modern opening day?
When I was younger, and before the whole area got destroyed by blowdowns, I used to like to just hike in the night before, a couple miles, and then camp out.
Ooh, I like that.
And I liked it because I could get up right at the break of dawn and I'm hunting. I get up and I'm just out of my tent and I'm hunting. And I would have deer sometimes, they'd walk right through camp and I would just head out, a little ways from camp and hunt or watch trails. A lot of the way that I hunt is ambush. I do that for elk. I do that for bear. I do that for a lot of things. I wait for those things to come to me.
Mm-hmm.
That's me personally. As I've gotten older, I've really enjoyed using a spotter scope to try to pick apart land and where they are bedding down and stuff like that. And so, I don't know. I try to avoid people, but I have honey holes like anybody else. So, last year when I got that buck, it was opening morning, and I had a guy, on a ridge, a couple hundred yards that way. I had some more people down that way, and sometimes it's luck of the draw. But I try to avoid people. You just kind of look for good habitat and not so many people, in my opinion.
And it's getting harder and harder.
It's tough in Washington
Yeah,
State.
it is. It's tough.
Yeah.
It's always tough. Just like you said, it's the luck of the draw sometimes. And like,
Yeah.
I honestly sometimes it's better to be lucky than good.
Yeah.
And
100%.
it's been a while since I've had a good lucky deer. Oh, come on, Chris.
But the other thing too is like,
He's like,
James is a lucky bunnyfoot over here. I don't
No,
know what the hell
I'm
he's
not.
talking about.
I only shot my 20th bear this year, and it's just, I don't know, it's just things, and they just run into my pocket, and I just got to take them home because they're my pets now. And
all right,
yeah, pretty much.
that's not true.
It's
I worked
100%
my
true.
ass
How
off.
many bears did you see on this last trip, Jim?
I think probably around 7 or 8.
Yeah.
He is, to be fair, James is an excellent hunter.
I don't think that's true.
I think when you know where to put yourself in certain situations, like
We always say this saying, the bears are where you find them.
the bears are where you find them.
James was definitely where you find them.
Yeah, when you're good, you're good.
He was on point that time.
just follow James. You don't have to look for bears.
Yeah,
You
when
just
you
find them for you.
consistently win over and over and over. It's
I
like,
try.
For some reason, me and Doug don't ever match. It's like Doug, I'm like, oh,
Every time I go hunting with James, you don't see shit.
yeah. Maybe it's because we always pack too many beers in our pack. or
That's
something.
probably, I don't know.
I can
I
see
don't know.
it.
We try really
We
hard.
try to
though.
have too much fun.
Yeah, we're always joking and laughing. And Hartsock, if he's funny to hunt with too. Gosh,
Oh, God, that
he
guy's
cracks
funny.
me
he's
up.
always super loud, so that's why
I know,
I don't
but
understand.
we always have success
Yeah.
together though. For some reason,
And he always tell me stories. It's like, Matt, shut up! You're being
I'm like,
too damn
will
loud.
you shut the hell up? Quit talking. He's like,
And,
what are you talking
in
about?
background,
I'm not
Matt
talking.
worked on a tugboat in the engine room, so it's his
His
hearing
hearing
is
is
shit,
oh,
right?
yeah.
So
he's
when
like-
he talks
He
super
thinks-
loud.
He thinks he's whispering, but he's like, should we go up there on that ridge? And I'm like, shush, quiet. What is wrong with you? He's like, what? What? They can't hear us from down here.
Jeez.
But then there's always animals for some
Yeah,
reason.
they're always there. Maybe they just jump out of nowhere.
No, they
Well,
just-
who's that?
They're like, oh, those are just a couple idiots down there. They're not hunting.
Yeah, they just figure
Yeah.
you're not hunting.
Yeah.
Since now that you're the president of the American Bear Foundation Washington chapter, and grizzly bears, big on our hit list. I want to touch on some grizzly bears. Number one, I want to shoot
We
one.
go long, but
Because
this is worth it.
we did touch base on that on the last podcast,
I think we should
which
get-
is not out yet.
We should get Doug Boze's opinion on that.
Yeah.
Sure.
I would love because
We
it's
we tore into it pretty good on the last podcast.
Yeah.
That isn't out, but I'd like to hear what you
Yeah.
what
So,
your thoughts are on
the
that.
people that don't know, they're trying to relocate and implement a grizzly bear population in Washington State, and
reintroduce already.
Reintroduce which is already introduced.
and
here.
I'm going to do something
Yeah.
that I typically don't do, and I'm going to hold back my opinion,
Yes, me too.
and I'm going to let Doug speak.
My personal opinion, and which happens to match up with the American
lot
Bear
of people.
Foundation's Washington chapter and the national chapter, is you have three options. There, plan A is to no action, is to do nothing, and I think that that's the best action. Plan B and C, they want 3 to 7 bears over the next X amount of years, with the final goal of 200 bears within the next 60 to 100 years. With Plan C, B and C are basically the same, with the exception of C will allow lethal removal of problematic bears for killing of livestock and nuisance, blah, blah, blah. The reason I prefer no action is there is no physical barrier blocking grizzly bears from coming down from British Columbia. There's no wall, there's no razor wire, there's no huge, huge river that they cannot cross. Grizzly bears are grizzly bears.
Yeah.
They're tough as, and they go where they want to go.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're gonna go where the food's gonna be,
Right.
just like any other predator.
And
Yep.
right now, BC, you can't hunt grizzly bears, so the population is going to grow. It's going to expand, and so why mess with it? We already have grizzly bears in the North Cascades. If we didn't have grizzly bears in the North Cascades, why are we taking grizzly bear tests, identification tests, as bear hunters when we hunt in the northern or the northeast GMUs? That's a
Right.
requirement. It has been a requirement. You don't see duck hunters doing dodo identification because we don't have dodo birds or flamingos in Washington State.
Good point, Doug.
So,
I like
and
that.
they were the last one was seen in 2011 right outside of Rockport, and so we know that they're there.
Well, that's where they were first officially reintroduced, was the Darrington area.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
And now they just removed that one out of Stevens County 2 weeks ago. That was a problematic grizzly for breaking into people's chicken coops and
I
bars.
saw
and
the
course.
pictures
everything
of that,
else.
Yeah.
I mean, the very first damn bear to come into the
I mean,
Northeast.
I mean,
it's
really.
not the first one. There's more because they've been seeing them and getting them on cameras for a while. But it's just funny that there's only a handful here, and that damn bear went and started digging through people's chicken coops.
And
Yeah.
the problem with bears is very similar to the problem with wolves. Is you look at wolves and they're like, oh, once they're reach a certain amount, we'll delist them. Well, we can see they don't even want to delist them down from. It's still a protected status.
Right.
Yeah.
So
From
I have as much
endangered.
I have as
Well-
much faith in our game commission to manage manage grizzlies as I do in like gas station sushi. It's when the time comes, I wouldn't touch it with
Well,
a
I
10-foot
mean,
pole.
think about it. Like, we all talk about it all the time, but the numbers that they think they know that is in this state is way off,
It
because there's no way they
absolutely is because if you've been in the remote
know. The
parts
shit.
of the
If
North
you've been in the
Cascades,
shit,
Yeah.
into the Poseidon Wilderness, especially
Yeah.
from there north towards Canada, you get into that deep, deep, deep country, and there's stuff that people haven't even seen.
Oh yeah, I mean
and-
it's huge.
And you know that, especially towards the Canadian border, there's got to be more grizzly bears in there than what they know about.
Right.
And they're coming in from two different directions. I mean, they're coming in from the northeast. There's a fair amount of timber country across that north part, and it goes over into the Sinlahican, and the Sinlahican pours into the Poseidon, right? So they're going to be coming in from Idaho, from the north and from the northeast. They're going to be coming down from Canada, which is going to happen.
Oh, 100%.
And
especially with no season there
With no
now.
season, like
They
it's
have so
just
many
going to
bears.
happen. I would imagine it would take probably 15, 20 years. We're going to see a lot more grizzly bears.
100%,
in the North
because
Cascades.
there's going to be
Naturally.
there's going to be too many in Canada. There's
Yeah.
going to
And-
be overpopulated.
Here's
Thanks,
the other
Trudeau.
thing too is just like with wolves,
Trudeau.
when they want to introduce these creatures, or every time they want to introduce an apex predator like this, it's always from people who don't have to deal with them.
Right. Exactly.
Their livestock aren't going to get killed. Their pets aren't going to get killed. They're not going to get mauled because they live in D.C. or wherever, or they live in Seattle, and they're a special interest group that's like, oh, it's a great idea. Well, you're not the guy who has to deal with
right.
wolf ripping apart your livestock in front of you, and you're
This is
losing
their
money.
livelihood.
Yeah,
right? Like,
Or your kids playing outside.
yeah.
And I
Right.
mean,
Yeah.
we don't have to deal with wolves yet where we live. But it's still, I sympathize with those people because I have family who are cattlemen and stuff like
Right.
that. Like, it's crap. And grizzlies are going to do the same thing. It's not the grizzlies' fault.
No.
I just don't think we need more.
100%.
Currently.
Yeah, it's not their fault, but
And
poor management
Well, and-
of the population.
And
is
here's the
what's
thing,
gonna
like
be the
what happened
downfall.
with Yellowstone and with them wanting a large population in Yellowstone, right? And then we saw what happened to that. They exploded out of Yellowstone.
Right.
Right. Now they're all over Wyoming,
Everywhere.
Montana, Idaho, and they're moving across Idaho up through the Panhandle. The northern Panhandle has a bunch of grizzlies now.
Oh, yeah.
And they didn't have grizzlies just even 5-6 years ago. There wasn't very many. And now it's a common occurrence. In fact, there's attacks, and they're having to put down grizzlies constantly from charging and stuff like that. Outfitters and hunters and stuff. If you could see the amount of animals that get killed, grizzly bears, per year by outfitters protecting clients or themselves, it's a staggering number.
And what happens to those grizzlies? Do they get tossed in a dump?
Yep, they get tossed in the dump.
And so, for example, when they tried to get that hunting season going, it was in Montana or Wyoming, I forget which. I applied for it. It was a special draw for grizzly.
Yep. Wyoming, I put in.
Yeah, and that got
Or
shot
Montana,
down
yeah.
by lawsuits and by a sympathetic judge. And so the idea of, well, if we get enough grizzlies and we'll just delist them and then we can manage them in Washington. That's not the case.
That's never ever going to happen. And the guys that are pro grizzly because they think we're going to get a season, you are out of your freaking mind.
Yeah.
Because I hunt Montana, and the grizzly bears are everywhere over there, and they kill people every freaking year. Exactly where I hunt, it was like 4 people that got mauled the shit out of, and died. Like I'm talking
there's a reason why they call them man-eaters.
Yeah, they look at us as food. People don't realize they're not black bears. They're nothing like black bears. They're totally completely different.
I see videos all the time of people like getting chased down trails by grizzly bears.
Yeah, it just doesn't make any sense. Yeah. And so if you think we're ever going to have a season, we won't. You know. And the thing is, it's like they don't. There's a reason they were extirpated from the environment because they are people eaters. They eat people. They don't give a shit. Right,
100%.
What was it this week? Those 2 hikers in Banff.
Yeah,
their tent got crushed. They got eaten. Their dog got killed.
Yeah,
they finally killed that one in Montana, the one that broke it. It was like breaking into someone's house, and they thought it was the one that killed that lady.
Oh yeah. Yeah, they DNA'd that one. It was the same one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they checked it.
Yeah, so it's like it doesn't make any sense. Like I don't don't get me wrong. I think grizzly bears are awesome, and I think they have their place. Mm-hmm. Do I want them around me or my family or my kid or my animals? No.
And
I don't want.
Well, no.
I think T-Rexes are cool too, but I don't want Jurassic Park.
Teddy bear, that's for sure.
Especially when you can't do something about it. So
if you could shoot them.
If we're here, and let's say they're still protected, they've moved down in the lowlands of Darrington or whatever, and you're sitting out there, and all of a sudden a grizzly bear's ripping into your sheep pen and grabbing a sheep. You can't shoot it.
Yeah.
I mean,
you could, but then next thing you know,
we're in the state of Washington.
Yeah, you go to jail because some freaking Karen throws a shit fit,
Right.
And you got to deal with one of these friggin' Washington wildlife.
So they're protected. So there's no way to really properly manage them. There's not really a great option for conflict resolution because they're going to take the most desperate cases only if it kills someone, probably. So it's just a mess. It's a slippery
slope. And nothing
slope.
even happens too. Like
there's going to have to be a ton of damage before anything happens. Basically,
they're doing
they're
doing a public comment with the National Forest Service,
National Park Service,
up in Darrington.
Yep. Yeah,
and I think they're going to have a pretty big showing of community.
Well, the thing is,
opposing that because they're going to be the ones having to deal with the first problems that are coming down. It's like Darrington, Rockport.
Yeah, let's say we all vote for it and we say, yeah, we want grizzlies in the state. And then, let's say 10 people get killed in the first year.
Then what?
Yeah, then what? What do you do?
They don't have a plan for that.
Yeah.
Of course they don't.
Because it'll happen. It's going to happen. People are going to get killed.
I forget the name of the guy. He's a representative for the Northeast Corner, though, and he submitted some legislation to nix this whole idea. He's been involved in it before to get rid of the grizzly reintroduction. He did it in 2020 or 2018, whenever it was. But he did that again. He's doing it again because he represents the people in the northeast part of the state and central part of the state, and he realizes that they're the ones who are going to deal with the brunt of this entire situation.
Yeah, they're the only ones that actually know what's going on.
Yeah.
And so hopefully that goes through. I mean, we'll see, but yeah.
Whether or not people listen.
And you can, for the listeners, you can put in just Google grizzly bear reintroduction North Cascades. That will take you right to the comment section, and you can give your own personal opinion to the National Park Service to let them know if you are for or against it.
And you should.
Yes, you should.
Especially if you're opposed.
Please and thank you.
Yeah.
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 Because the more the better.
And it's not like Washington is not like Wyoming or Idaho or Montana. Like our population's way higher. The amount of people that are on the PCT during the summer months, especially, is insane.
Mm-hmm.
And
it is crazy.
There's that many more people, and then you're
that
going
many
to
more
mix in a bunch of grizzly bears into the mix, and then not everyone's bear smart. Not everyone knows how to use pepper spray. We touched on it last week.
Yeah, personal safety is going to be.
It's going to be a huge issue. It's going to be worse than these other states. Conflict's going to be more. So.
And grizzly bears ain't going to give a shit.
I'm glad the American Bear Foundation has the same ideology about
Speaking of, we're going to do a giveaway.
Oh. Are we?
Yeah.
Oh.
What are you going to do?
To win this giveaway, If you, I would say like if you become there's regular and then there's a life member, right? Is there?
Yeah, there's like an annual membership of $35 to $45. The 35 is just a standard one. The 45 gets you a Howl membership as well. I think that's the price. And then the life membership is $1,000. But you get that Stone Glacier pack. You get a lifetime subscription to Bear Hunting Magazine. You get a hat. You get a jacket. Blah blah blah.
And I think there's a $500 membership for life as well. Joe was trying to explain it to me. It's kind of confusing on the website. They're going to fix it.
Yep, it's getting
because there's like two payments. Once is like $250 and $500, but it's two payments of. Anyways, here's what we're gonna do. If you become a member of the American Bear Foundation, either a annual, and if you become a life, I'm gonna say we're gonna give you like, say 10x the entries. What we're gonna do is we're gonna mix up a bunch of entries and we're gonna draw some shit. We got a bunch of good stuff in the back. We're not gonna tell you what you win yet. But James knows because James knows the stash room back there with all the good stuff. And so if you become you got to become a new member of the American Bear Foundation, either a annual or life member. You got to post it on our Instagrams or YouTubes or something. You got to let us know, and then we're gonna mix all that shit together, and we're gonna figure out who's gonna win, and we're gonna give you a bunch of cool stuff.
Nice.
So
That sounds awesome.
Thanks, man. Yeah.
So please and thank you. They supported us at our function that we had at Skookum, and donated $1,000. And
100% you should be a member.
yeah, it was pretty freaking cool. And I got a badass backpack over there from it too. So it's not like you're just giving to a great cause. You're kind of being selfish and getting a sweet backpack at the same time.
You could get a really nice backpack and a membership.
Yeah,
Really
so
nice backpack.
And
that link is still on our website too.
Yep.
yeah. Oh yeah, the Sportsman's Alliance link. Go there. And I had put a post up the other day about.
And I was gonna ask, how long is that link gonna last? Probably
They're
gonna
keep
be
it up as long
as possible.
We're still
because this is
active
like
on it.
we're gonna be fighting the state for probably a
When
while.
I talked to Todd, he said that he would keep it up for a while, especially with the more support that we're getting for the fundraising events and for suing the state of Washington. So.
And there's going to be more fundraising events in Washington. And if you want to do an event like we did, both Todd and Brian said they would help out. There's the guys at Sportsman Alliance who helped us put together our function, and they will help you put on a function anywhere in Washington State that you would like. Or if you're outside of Washington State and you want to help our cause, we would love that as well.
Yeah, because we're all fighting the same fight.
Yeah, so you can reach out to us or Sportsman Alliance or even the American Bear Foundation. So
And also, October 26th through the 28th, they're having another big meeting. So if you can show up in person to the commission meeting, that would be great. It's going to be
where is it?
in Olympia.
Olympia.
Yep.
And if you can't do it in Olympia, you can sign up on Zoom, so you don't have to spend the gas money to go down there. You can just Google Department of Fish and Wildlife Game Commission meetings, and you can sign up right there.
Or send a DM to us or the Doug Boze.
definitely Doug. Send it to Doug because
Or
I don't know what I'm
the-
doing.
Send it to Chris.
The coalition, the Washington Conservation Coalition.
Send it to Gary.
Yeah.
Yeah, Gary Strasburg would be love to help you.
Oh,
okay?
hey guys.
Send
How you
it.
doing there? It's your
I
old
got
pal Gary.
65 DMs.
I love Gary. That guy's awesome.
All right, Doug. Let's wrap her up. We're probably way over. our
Wrap
time.
her up.
Yep.
Well, it's been a pleasure to have you on the show there, Doug.
Thank you guys. I appreciate it. Truly.
Yeah.
It's my pleasure, and I hope it helps some people to get out there, get after the predators. Don't just deer hunt, predator hunt. Got to manage them for as long as we can, because God knows how long that's going to be.
Yeah,
exactly.
because if you don't, we're gonna lose that other population.
And I guess my parting words is like, speak up at these game commissions, man. Email, call. You might not think it makes a difference, but it does. So speak up. Join Sportsman's Alliance. Join American Bear Foundation. Just get active and tell your friends.
Fight the fight.
Yep.
Yep.
And with that said, stay humble and hunt hard, guys.